Board members, welcome back to another episode of Talkin' Games. And today we've got another Queen Games game, and it's Treasure Hunter by Richard Garfield, and again, published by Queen Games. This is a great, fun, lighthearted game. It's pretty much a drafting game, a little bit of adventure. You're drafting adventurers that are going to journey through the mountains, through the jungles, through the lava caves, fend off goblins, and reap as many coins and as much treasure as possible without getting cursed. This game is for 2 to 6 players, takes about 45 minutes to an hour to play, and it's rated for ages 8 and up. So let's get down the table, check out the components, talk about the rules, and give you my final thoughts. All right, starting with the components, we've got the game board here. It's 2 pieces. You kind of just put it together like the world's easiest puzzle. You've got some gems that are worth 10 or 20 points. So when you collect 10 or 20 coins, you can just cash them in for gems for easier counting towards the end of the game. Got 75 different cards. There are adventurer cards, coin cards, watchdog cards, and action cards. Then there are your treasures, of course. There's some magic scrolls, both gray and yellow. There's regular artifacts that are both positive and negative, depending on whether they have a curse or give you points or take away points. Then you've got these cards here, these goblin tiles. On the back, you see they're each worth 1 point, and then the goblin themselves has a strength and a funny picture and how much coins they will steal from you if you don't fend them off in the goblin phase. There are also some counters here to keep score. On the back side of the map, there's a score chart, so it's kind of handy for when keeping score at the end of the game for tallying up your totals. So, the components, the quality of these components. Again, thickness of quality from Queen Games. The thickness quality of the cardboard is fantastic. I've had 0 warping of the coin tokens. I've had 0 warping of the board, 0 warping of the treasure tiles, and the goblin tiles. I don't sleeve my cards, and I've not sleeved these, and I've played this game a lot. So I've got no complaints on the quality of components. It's another top-notch job done by Queen Games in that regard. That being said, let's talk about the phases of the game. The first thing you're going to do, there's only 3 phases per round, and you can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds, and the game's over. It's not a very long game. Talked about it being 45 to 60 minutes. I think 60 minutes would probably be, if you had a full 6-player count, it might be 60 minutes. So what you're going to do, you're going to deal out 9 cards to each player. And the cards are, again, they consist of adventurers of different types. You've got green, blue, and red. There are action cards, which like Sleeping Beauty. This one here is a shrinking potion. You've got coin cards. And there are also the dog cards, which are like security guards, guard dogs, for when you're facing the goblins in this area here. So first you dealt 9 cards each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. After you're dealt the 9 cards, you're going to draw 3 treasure tiles from each pile. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, let's see if I can find another example. Looking for a cursed tile just to help out here. There's a gray treasure tile, a gray scroll. There's one. I just want to make sure that I showcase all the examples of possible treasures. So you're going to, after you deal out the 9 cards, or before, I guess it doesn't really matter, you deal out the treasure on the treasure board. And you also deal 3 face-up goblins. 1, 2, 3. I'll get to you guys in a minute. What you're looking for is to sort your hand by color, then card type. So you've got 3 action cards, 1 coin card, and 1 pet dog card. Now this is a drafting game where you're going to choose 1 card from your hand and pass your hand around to the person to your left on the first round, to your right on the second round, to your left on the third round, to your right on the 4th round, and to your left on the 5th round. Thus, keeping 1 card, passing the rest, and you'll get 8 back from your neighbor, and you'll keep another card, and so on and so forth. So let's assume that this is the hand you were left with at the end of the round. You're trying to be either the strongest or the weakest in each of these categories to claim these different treasures. This chalice is worth 13. This yellow scroll card can be played at the end of any round to give you 2 times the number of coin cards you played that round. This is a curse card, so you don't want to be the strongest in the jungle this round. So you definitely want to, maybe in this example, you'd want to keep the 2 green and make sure you pass all the other greens to your opponents. You might want to be the weakest here for a 9 scoring gem. Another yellow scroll card that can be used at the end of the round. You get 1 point for every red card you'd played that round. And then the gray scrolls are used at the end of the game scoring, where you'd get 1 point for each treasure card. And these are the treasure cards or treasure tiles that you control at the end of the game. You keep doing that for 5 rounds. And at the end of 5 rounds, the person with the most wealth wins. During the blue phase, or the Frosty Mountain phase, is when you have to play all your blue adventurers. After playing all your adventurers, you then have the opportunity to play any action cards. This example, Sleeping Beauty, you can put one of your opponent's persons to sleep. You can put one of your own people to sleep. Maybe you wanted to go for the small one, so you'd put your own Sylvana Foxfoot asleep, and you'd have just a little lowly level 1 Whisper. She might be able to take that treasure tile. So you can use the Sleeping Beauty. You can use a Shrinking Potion to subtract 2 from somebody's adventurer strength, or subtract 2 from one of your own, again, to go for the minimum score. So you play through the blue round, do the same thing with the green, do the same thing with the red. Then you move on to the goblin phase, where you play all of your security watchdogs. And what you're looking for here is this paw number. You want to make sure that it's equal to or greater than any of the goblins. And it's not greater than this goblin, so I would lose 2 coins to this particular goblin. Once you determine how many coins, if any, that you lose to the goblins, you and all the opponents tally up all of your paw points, and whoever has the most claims these tiles. Now, if you're tied for the most, there's a discipline number at the bottom of these dog cards. Whoever has the highest discipline number on their dog card will claim those tiles. That's how you finish the round. For these tiles, the last thing you're going to do is play all of your coin cards and collect as many coins as the coin cards that you played. Once you've played all of those cards, that's when you're allowed to activate any or none of your yellow scrolls. That's when you play this and get 1 for every red card you play that round, or activate this to get double the number of coins you played that whole round. So it's another way to garner more treasure. Repeat that process 5 times, and that's it. You've played a game of Treasure Hunter. I really like this game. Let's talk about my final thoughts. It's not a tough game by any stretch. It's quick, it's fun, it's light, it's not deep strategy. There's some heavy drafting strategy, I suppose, if you're into drafting games. If you like drafting games and want something with a little kind of like a fun spirit, this is a great game for that. If you're maybe helping teach your kids a little bit of math, basic math, this could help with that. For adding up all your treasure and determining, adding up the number, your adventurer's strength numbers, who's got the highest strength number, who has the lowest strength number. There are even some multiplication cards in the deck for each of the different areas, the frost area, the jungle area, and the lava area, where it multiplies the amount of strength that you bring to that particular area for that treasure. So you can even teach multiplication. So I think it's a great game all around for lighthearted, fun. I would rate it a 6 or 7 out of 10. It's simple, right? So there's a little bit of theme, I guess. So I just think it's a great game. I won't belabor that point anymore. It's a great game. You should check it out. Treasure Hunter, designed by Richard Garfield, a well-known card game designer, and published by Queen Games. Yet another great game by Queen Games. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you at the next boardroom meeting.